Hey everyone, it's Gabe for Grizzly Ginger Disc Golf. Now, last time I said I would do an in the bag plus practice and tournament schedule, but this was starting to get a little long, and practice schedule is so important that I wanted to give it its own video with the time it deserves, so that'll be next. For now, here's what's in my bag. This is the Innova starter bag in blue and gray. The description says it can hold 8 to 10 discs, but as long as I leave my practice putters at home, I've been able to fit 12 in the main compartment. Let's see, this zipper pocket holds my minis, my wallet, Sharpie, can hold a scorecard or a pencil, but if I put my keys in there, the putter starts to get stuck on the pocket when I try to pull it out. Speaking of putters, let's start there. I have a max weight blue DX AVR for putting. I really like the baseline plastic, partially because it's cheap. It's really easy to rotate in and out whenever it gets a little too beat in. And it's not affected too badly by other weather conditions like rain or heat or cold. I have heard reports of some older DX plastic breaking, but this has been fine so far. I also have XT Blend Nova and DX Rhino. This was actually the first disc that I ever found. I use the Nova for approaches that I need to hold a line. It's like it'll go straight, it'll hold a hyzer or anhyzer that I put it on. I just have a little trouble getting those lines in. The Rhino I use for a little bit more overstable approaches. So it's easier to release flat and it'll go around a corner if I need it to. I should probably have more mid-ranges in my bag, but with these two I have a Champ Factory Second Rock 3 and DX Cobra. The Rock 3 I use for overstable approaches that are longer than the Rhino, and I use the DX Cobra. This is the second favorite disc in my bag. I can throw it flat and soft and it'll turn just a little bit and then just keep going straight and finish straight. And if I put a little bit more juice on it and throw it flat, it'll shape a nice turnover shot. I was playing with 3 guys who are way above my skill level from my bag tag league. There was a short dogleg right hole and they were all trying to put anhyzer on their putters, and it all got stuck in the grass to the left, so it felt really nice to throw this flat a little harder than I usually do, and it turns right and I'm parked for a drop-in. Now moving on to drivers. I have 4 Fairway or control drivers. I have 2 T-Birds in my bag. One is Starlight plastic, one DX. This Starlight is 158, so it is pretty flippy, but not as flippy as this DX T-Bird. Even though it's 4 grams heavier, it's beat in. Like, you can see some chunks along the edge. It's hit a few trees, so this one flips over like nothing else. I use this one mainly for tighter shots. I can usually hyzer flip it pretty easily, but I gotta be careful not to turn it over too much. And the Starlight T-Bird I only use for short forehand shots. Like I said, I'm not as comfortable with my forehand, but I can still get nice control on some shorter shots. And next we have C-Line FD2. I picked this up thinking it would just be a little bit more overstable than my T-Birds, but this being 170 and C-Line plastic, it is the most overstable disc in my bag. Well, except for the last one. You'll see that in a second. So this is my thumber disc right now. And the Star Snow Leopard 3 got a cool triple stamp on that. This is the first disc that I actually learned to get to do what I want. Like, it'll hyzer flip up and glide forever. This is one of my go-to drivers. And this is currently my favorite disc in my bag. Pro Valkyrie. Honestly, I picked it up after looking at bestdiscgolfdiscs.com, and at 175, this is exactly what I needed in a distance driver. I'll throw this on my longest drives and any long open fairway shots, and I'm learning to hyzer flip it and how it behaves that way for tighter shots. And last but not least, we have the Fabled Destroyer, again in Pro Plastic. I actually really like Pro Plastic. It's tackier than the DX, and it doesn't beat in nearly as quickly. Since I have a lower arm speed, I usually don't pull this out unless there is a strong headwind or I'm having a particularly good form day. So those are all the discs in my bag. But wait, there's more. I have 3 more AVRs. I have an XT AVR that's great for cold weather putting. It stiffens up nicely, and I mean, I don't like it too much during the warm months because I don't really like the gummy, well, the bendy feel of it. But during the colder months, it stiffens up and it's perfect. I also have one in DX plastic with a tournament stamp that I bought used, and also in DX Glow that I also picked up used. These 3 I use exclusively for putting practice. I never take these out on the course with me when I'm throwing around, or even during field work. These are solely for throwing chains. I also have a KC Pro AVR that I've never thrown because it's been cold, but honestly the more I hold it and just kind of mess with it a little bit, I don't think I like the big bead on putters. So I don't know what's going to happen with that one. So those are all the discs that I own. I also have a Starlight Turn with a pretty nice die job, but I found it and I never really learned how to throw it, so that one has stayed in my garage. As you can see, like, I've only picked up Innova discs plus 1 from Discmania. That's because when I started playing, I was borrowing my friend's Champ Orc, and then when I looked into discs for my own, I really liked the look of Innova's DX stamps. I really liked the artwork. However, in the past couple months, I've been wanting to branch out because there's so many companies out there. I started looking and I found out the great community that Dynamic Discs is building, and they're really trying to grow the sport. And also some anecdotal stories about how Innova discs throw inconsistently out of the box, and also the awesome art that Westside Discs have. I love that they have the same art across all of their plastic types, and they just changed a little bit in the corner. Then this month, Valerie Jenkins announced her break with Innova, and her account of how Innova treated her as a sponsored player and a multiple-time world champion just really soured me on them as a company. So I'm no longer going to be supporting Innova with my custom, and I'm going to move to Trilogy Plastic. I have a Prime Marshall and a BT Hard Harp on the way from InfiniteDiscs.com, but I did look into replacing my whole bag, plus the bag, and it would cost $150 to do that outright. So I'm putting all of these discs up for sale or trade on the Disc Exchange subreddit, plus a list of what I'm looking for to replace them in my bag. There will be a link in the description for that. It might suck to have to learn new discs, but I'm trying to get discs that are as close to what I'm throwing already, so I don't have to go too far. Plus, I'm doing a lot of putting practice and field work right now. If you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Give me a follow on Twitter or Instagram to see more frequent updates on my progress. And speaking of putting practice and field work, stay tuned tomorrow for my video on practice and tournament schedule. Until next time, remember, everyone was a beginner once.